Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Wrestlebacks, rewatchable must-see matches right here. Part of the Card Subject to Change family of shows in the For Frequency's Sake podcast network. We are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and of course colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. I can't do this alone. We've got the Trios champs in the house. My partner and co-host from Card Subject to Change, Mr. Never Wrong, Nick Bull. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. We are the Freebirds. We are the Freebirds of the For Frequency's Sake network. How that just flows off the tongue. We are the Freebirds from Bad Street, Iowa, Illinois, wherever you want it to be. We are Bad Street. So I'm Michael P.S. Hayes. You guys can fight over who. I'm a Michael P.S. Hayes mark. So I got to be him.
Well, I guess that's fair.
You do have luscious locks as well.
Bingo.
Let's see. There we go. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey,
and of course, can't not have a Wrestleback show without the self-proclaimed Prince of Strong Style this month, Mr. Joe the Show Winkle. Joe, how are you doing, sir?
I've got a name for every occasion, but I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
I can't wait for this one.
Back in your life, like just like a lot of things that are in your life. I can't think. I'm very out of it in the moment, but we're here. We're excited. You guys might have to carry me. Like I've kind of, sometimes I carry you, sometimes you carry me. This is one where you guys might have to put me on your back just a little bit, but I'm ready. I'm rolling. Let's get it. Push-ups will be done tonight on picket fences. Someone's going to chop somebody, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
I think you're going to be just fine. I think
yes.
This match is different from the other matches we've reviewed. So that's what makes it unique. We want each episode kind of to be different and different spins on things. So that you'll get with this. Okay. This match, I think, the big backing with it is, it was kind of such a social media phenomenon. Because that's kind of like how it was booked and promoted. But regardless, this is going to be a fun one. We'll be just fine.
Okay, let's just get right into the chopping battle. Who wins between me and Joe in a series of chops, Nick?
Well, when you say series, are you talking like a back and forth like we standard see, or are you talking the Kenta Kobashi, when he's sitting there going,
both.
In the corner?
Both, by all means.
Oh, man, who survives? I don't know. I bet you guys would probably call a truce about two smacks in, but I don't.
To be fair, I did say that I'm a bit of a pansy on the last episode of Card Subject to Change, so I've got that going for me. I think I would get half a chop in and I'd be done.
Like, I want to believe in myself that I could actually, sit here and take chops like a man, but I feel like I wouldn't really make it that far. I feel like I would kind of I'd be tapped out after like.
I'd like to think that I'd be able to. No, I no way. I'd be probably down after two. If I could withstand one, I'm down after two. That's it.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to be out here and living like Bryan Danielson after he wrestles for 20 minutes, bro, and looking like he's got like road rash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't want the hamburger chest?
No, listen, man, not for me. Not for me. I'm all for watching it, but I'm not into, I'm not gonna put myself through that type of punishment, if that makes sense.
No.
I don't blame you. But you know who did put themselves through that type of punishment? Samoa Joe and Kenta Kobashi.
Oh, yeah, this is I almost want to say this is out of left field, but I don't know if I mean that might be doing it a disservice, but this is definitely different than this. So this is our third edition of Wrestlebacks, of course, rewatchable must-see matches, excitement in the air. I'm excited to do this, as I am for every month. But this one's definitely different. I think the first two we kind of did in a more, the first match we did was obviously a kind of grand spectacle.
A cinematic experience.
Exactly. The second match we did was more about like the timing and the story. And this match is more of like just a match. There's not a if you deep cut into this, there's a lot of layers and different meanings, but as far as just like a general, here's this elongated story that is drawn out that leads us to this moment in time, it's not really like that. And so I picked to go behind the scenes to break kayfabe. I'm gonna uh gonna use the terminology correctly here. I picked match 1. CZ picked match 2. This was Nick Bull's first crack at the plate. Nick, I just want to throw this to you, and we'll start here. What made this? What drew you in to want to do this? And I know we've talked about a little bit. We're going to get into a lot of your feelings and a lot of all of our feelings in this. But what was your initial thing of like, this is something I think would be worth going into an extended discussion about?
Well, first and foremost, I wanted to shed a light on kind of like independent wrestling. And Ring of Honor to me was my introduction to what independent wrestling was, or what the scene was going on at the time. I never knew about Japanese wrestlers. I knew the Great Muta wrestled in WCW, but I didn't know anything about New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah. Knew nothing about that. Ring of Honor was kind of my introduction into that, the Japanese style, along with the American independent. And of course, they'd bring in names when they could get names. The wonderful thing about Ring of Honor, and I think, I know CZ will vouch for this because we were big fans at the time of this match happening and before and after it. The unique thing with the Ring of Honor thing was it was all through DVD.
Yes.
They didn't have a TV deal yet. So everything was through DVD. So you either bought DVDs, you traded DVDs, we'd buy them and then burn them. Yep. I guess come after me. I don't know, whatever. But that's how we learned about these guys. And then the best part, was the message boards. That's how I learned who other people were that I had no clue who they were. That's where I put names with faces on wrestlers. And so that was a big eye-opening experience for me, not only stepping into what, independent wrestling is or what we think it is here in the United States, but on top of that, giving the heavy dosage stuff of Japan and the influx of Japanese stars that they brought in and out. It was a cool time. And that message board, man, I learned so much by being in there, just reading other people's thoughts and stuff. And that message board, we'll get back to that later, it is a big part of this match.
I love like certain people talking, like we're going to get into certain aspects, but I think some of my favorite stuff is talking about, it was doing some of the research on this and seeing CZ how, it like kind of trying to tie it to today and thinking of how without these types of wrestling promotions and this type of outlook on wrestling, certain stuff wouldn't be as prevalent today. Right. I think these were like the foundational blocks of being able to, maybe what's the word I'm looking for? To give people, to give people something to kind of like look up to in a certain aspect. I have a word. I know the word I want to use, but I can't say it because my brain is literally not working right now.
Put on a pedestal, elevate.
It's like, no, it's not those. I feel so stupid right now. Good God. Anywho, but it's like these people, like they're the wrestlers that see this, they get motivated. Motivated. I think that might be the word. This motivates them to like, hey, I see this. This is something I want to aspire to be. These people can get these reactions. These people can do all of these great things without getting to this higher stage and higher, because these are independent wrestling organizations. And I think because of that, because of these things, it helped drive other people to, create other avenues, all that stuff, if that makes sense.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I look at Ring of Honor as the stepping stone for WWE bringing NXT into the play, especially the black and gold era, because so much of the talent on NXT came from places like Ring of Honor, like Evolve, that showcased matches like what we just watched or what we are reviewing today. I don't think there would be an NXT if Ring of Honor didn't exist.
Just to piggyback off what CZ's saying, that's why I have kind of, I always was like moth to a flame for NXT Black and Gold, because it made me feel like I felt and reminded me so much of that Ring of Honor feel, popping in a DVD. Like it had an independent feel, but the production was top notch. The Black and Gold's the closest thing I can get back to, what Ring of Honor was if I explain it to somebody. And I don't hear a lot of bad things about the Black and Gold era. The Ring of Honor thing was kind of underground in the early days before they got that big television deal. Like I said, like the DVDs and people swapping them and stuff like that was a big deal. And that message board, like I said, we'll talk more about later. But yeah, and at the time of this match, Joe is under contract with TNA.
Mm-hmm.
He has signed his TNA deal. So, that was kind of unheard of, right? Like, you never saw WWE guys doing stuff like that, but here you had TNA, upstart organization, going after the next direct competition at the time to WWE. And they're letting guys, do their indie dates on the weekends or whatever. So that was kind of an eye-opening thing for me. Like that's a lot. That happens a lot more now. AEW kind of has that policy where if you're not booked, you can appear for other places. But at that time, 2005, it just wasn't something you saw every day. It was kind of neat and unique.
Right.
Incredibly unique in a degree. Like you would see, because you would see like the other promotion, you would see like indie promotions allowing you to go bounce around with other indie promotions, but an actual mainstream company, that would be to itself be different. Looking at like, going through the all of the different types of things for what this match became. So obviously looking at the two wrestlers, a lot of people, I'm sure most of the people that are watching this have understand these guys. But for me, when I first got sold this by Nick, I really had no idea really about this match, because my, going back and watching like mid 2000s Ring of Honor, just like that's when I first got into wrestling, was the early to mid 2000s. So like I was only 9 and 10 years old. So to go out of my way to find this stuff, like just wasn't in my dialect, wasn't in my Rolodex. And I've never really gone out of, I've gone out of my way to seek some stuff, but not a bunch of stuff. But the importance of this match was fun to do the research of, to see like why it was so important, what it meant to the people. And I think it's easy to start first with just Samoa Joe, what he meant. Nick kind of mentioned already, he was in TNA at this time. The match happens in October. A month before this was probably the greatest match in TNA history, the triple threat at Unbreakable with him, Christopher Daniels, and AJ Styles. Samoa Joe's undefeated in TNA at this time. Later this year, he is going to wrestle and defeat AJ Styles for the X Division title. The following year will be when he's still undefeated and Kurt Angle joins TNA, and Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe have Kurt Angle's first match in TNA. So that obviously is some big stuff for Samoa Joe. He is well known. 2000, he started wrestling right at the end of the 90s in 1999. He was in Ring of Honor in the early 2000s. Became Ring of Honor World Champion in March of 2003 and held it for over a year and a half. He lost it in December of 2004 to Austin Aries. Shout out to Austin Aries. He won the Wrestling Observer newsletter for Most Outstanding Wrestler in 2005. So this was a pretty big year for Samoa Joe. We'll see later if we all think this is his Apex Mountain year, winky face. But this is definitely foreshadowing. But this is definitely a great year for the proclaimed Samoan submission machine, Mr. Wizard.
And not only that, I'll mention this because it's going to be brought up more than once, I'm sure. This was 2005 match of the year, according to the Wrestling Observer and good old Uncle Dave.
Uncle Dave was all over it. This was the match of the year, not just because the fans were chanting it. It's because the smart people, Nick, the geeks, as you like to say. I'm kidding.
Yeah. The match, was kind of a grassroots put together thing, and a term I never heard about until I got into these message boards and stuff was dream match, and it's so overused now.
Yep.
But my buddy and I, and along with CZ, Ryan Cerny, a little cross action here. He is coming up on our next episode of Card Subject to Change. We'll be talking about our Ring of Honor Mount Rushmores, and he was in the thick of things with us as well, going to shows, keeping up on things. And dream match gets thrown around and we always joke about it, but this was kind of like the dream match that was first talked about in there, and it kind of happened. And then there was a lot of people who didn't know who Kobashi was. I was one included at that time, so found out everything I needed to know through other fans, asking questions, answering things. So that's where I found out about the background of Kobashi. Now, social media is so much more different now than it was just in infancy in 05, if we want to be honest, right? It had been around for a little bit, but not quite what it was today type of deal. So, you had to do your digging to find out about this. And if you were a Ring of Honor fan, it was right there. But like I said, wrestlers and social media was a completely different thing back then.
Yeah, but and I only can imagine what it would have been like, CZ, to kind of be, I'm not saying you guys are. I would never call you two old. Obviously, we're too good of friends. But I mean, I was only 8, 9, 10 years old when these things were popping off like they were here in America. Kind of the heyday. And listen, my childhood will be that era TNA and the Ruthless Aggression era. But if you look at it, I mean, let's be real. So we're about to talk about Kobashi here in a second. People were saying Pro Wrestling Noah, which is where he came, where he was dominant in and where he was well known for in the early 2000s. You look at that mixed with ROH, you could very well argue that those are the two best wrestling promotions in the world from a wrestling standpoint at this time of this time in this time period, I should say.
Oh, for sure. You look at the wrestling aspect, 100%, these were the two best in the world. I mean, sure, you had the WWE and their entertainment value, but let's face it, WWE isn't a wrestling company, they're a sports entertainment company. And that they will die on that hill. But Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Noah, all of the big indies of this time, those are the two biggest, but they were all focused on the wrestling more than the entertainment. I mean, yeah, the entertainment was there. Got to have a good story, but what really drew people like Nick and myself in wasn't necessarily the story as much as the in-ring work of the competitors.
Go. Were you gonna say something?
Go ahead. If you, I thought you were going to ask or say something.
I was going to kind of move on to Kobashi here and talking about kind of his journey to this moment. So Kobashi, obviously, Nick, you kind of did a soliloquy when we were initially talking about this last time we were all together, kind of his journey to get to this match. I have some spark notes here talking about when he first started back in the 80s in All Japan Pro Wrestling. In the early 90s, he was a part of he was dubbed as one of the members of the 4 Heavenly Kings in All Japan Pro Wrestling with Michiharu Misawa, who is somebody he was one of the well-known people that he was rivals with. I'm going to butcher this name. butcher these names, Akira Taue and Toshiaki Kawada were the other two people in that foursome. Obviously, and we mentioned in pro wrestling, Noah is where. So they were talking. You look at some of these things and do some of the research. He was a guy who battled a lot of like injuries in the late '90s and early 2000s. Then goes to pro wrestling Noah, which it seems like, I don't know if Nick, if you want to say I'm wrong, just kind of tell me here. Maybe I'm ignorant to this, but it seemed like from the research that like pro wrestling Noah was then kind of what like New Japan's popularity was in, say, the early 2010s over in Japan, probably.
Yeah, probably. They had, more of the older stars at the time. I can't recall Kobashi's age at the time of this Joe match, but of the four, Kobashi, Mitsuharu Misawa, which I learned about him. Where did I learn about him at? In the Ring of Honor boards, because I had no clue who that guy was. In 05, I'm 25 at this point. I didn't know who he was. Like, pardon my ignorance, but no idea who he was. Kawada, I think Kawada and Misawa, Eddie Kingston over there on the AEW side holds in a very high regard. I think Kawada wore like the blue and gold or the black and gold, excuse me. So I think that's why Kingston does it as an homage to him. But they had some older guys, but they also had the guys that the fans absolutely loved. And then those guys went out and went through absolute wars against each other. Like there's matches from the early 90s. Is it Misawa? It's Misawa, maybe Kawada, or maybe it's Misawa and Hiroshi Hase. And I mean, it's like they're out there trying to break each other's neck. I mean, it's stiff. There's some awkward landings, and the crowd is just eating it up. And these guys became legends because of that. Get to this point, after the early 90s, we're out in the mid 2000s. They're older, but still a draw. And on, kind of on the backside of their career, but still able to go out there and, like we can see in this, put on classic match.
Yeah, and this match, obviously, it's in itself is one of those. We're going to talk about that here we're going to continue to get to it here in a moment. And one of the biggest things, CZ, for Kobashi coming in is how this was his first ever. So he becomes the Noah champion in the early 2000s, has a boatload of matches with some like legendary people. Like you rattle some of the names off. I'd like Suzuki, Liger, some others, obviously. But his biggest thing here is he's never wrestled in America. And ROH did some work with other wrestling promotions from Japan to have some of their talent come over at times. You just didn't see many of these cross-stream promotional things with with companies overseas back at you obviously had like, didn't WCW do stuff with like New Japan in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that at times? But
yes, they did.
There was a New Japan branch of the NWO for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Right, but it's other aspects. This is something that wasn't too common,
right?
But for at least for like the independent scenes. But so this CZ is kind of one of the original things that really, popped off in a sense, because this guy coming over and Kobashi is probably, at least for Noah at that time, and probably still to this day easily, their biggest star they've ever had. So for him to finally make his American soil debut this long into his career, and it was this anticipated, like they announced the match like 2-3 months ahead of time, obviously was a massive deal.
Oh, without a doubt. And the thing with Kobashi, he going into this match didn't think anybody would know who he was, but through the message boards, through the word of mouth, through the internet, I don't think there was a single person in that crowd that didn't know who he was by the time he walked through that curtain. I'm going to put this out there. Is this match the original Forbidden Door match?
That's a fantastic question. That's an interesting question. Nick, what do you think?
About CZ's question,
Yeah.
I think it can be that way. I mean, I'm sure if you go back and look through the realms of time, there's been something else, but to this magnitude and the fact that it was so looked forward to, so sought after, and the fact we're still talking about it now, just over 20 years later,
Yeah.
resonates with how awesome this whole event was. And, Ring of Honor, okay, the number one independent in the United States at the time, gets Kenta Kobashi for a weekend. They get him for the showdown with Joe on the Friday night, a tag team match on Saturday night. But that his first American appearance is in New York City for your company. That was a big legitimate moment for Ring of Honor. I think
Yes.
cementing Ring of Honor. And for what Joe did before this by going on that long historic reign and then getting signed by TNA, really kind of becoming the first guy from Ring of Honor to kind of make it immediate impact. I want to think about it. Going from a Ring of Honor right to something like right to the next step, he was an immediate impact in TNA.
He was.
So these two guys, which, in age at the time, Kobashi older, Joe younger, but it's like the two ships passing in the night. The great what if. What if these two guys ever fought and it happened? Like the fans kind of had a grassroots, dream match moment. This is long before the yes movement, but it was everywhere on those message boards, Joe Kobashi, Joe Kobashi, it has to happen, who else would it be, So, I mean, this thing for being 2005, from when it was, talked about, whispered about on the message boards to when it happened or when it was announced and went down, that time period on the message boards was crazy, just constantly. I mean, I was constantly on. I'm trying to keep updated with what was going on.
And the fact that Joe did a lot of convincing for Kobashi that he would be known here, that they would know who he is, that goes a long way for Joe, who's, in my opinion, in getting him here. That's, I think, what really put the nail in the coffin in convincing Kobashi to come to America and wrestle in front of us here in the States.
It is one of the coolest things. You look at the match breakdown here as you get into that, talking about them talking before the match. Kobashi wanted to wrestle he thought that the best way to approach it would be to wrestle as a heel because he was worried that nobody would know who he was.
Right.
And the moment that he has when he comes out and everyone's losing their minds. Really cool part of this whole thing for a guy like that who really didn't know what to expect. The funniest thing was listening to a little clip from the Steve Austin pod from years ago, and Joe was talking about hey man, all these people have illegally bootlegged all of your matches from over there. We've seen them. They know who you are, bro. Trust me. I'm Samoa Joe's one of us. That is for real. Let's go through. We mentioned some of those, so just kind of going through the match here as it is. The entrances, Samoa Joe, his entrance is let's just say legendary. We'll get into that a bit more later in a different in some categories. Kobashi comes out, the crowd's going nuts, throws his arms up, has his moment in the sun. The match starts. It's the initial first 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes is just both guys having a out alpha each other contest. They're staring each other down. They tie up. Joe gets him into the ropes, and then he slaps him. Kobashi then chops Joe. They kind of do another little nose to nose. Kobashi chops him. Crowd's going crazy. They do a test of strength and the crowd already starts a "This is awesome" chant. We're like 4 minutes into the match, by the way.
Yes.
The first sequence is the first like third of the match is really dominated by Joe.
Yes.
He gets a backdrop. He has a really like quick sequence. He does a backdrop, a shoulder tackle, a baseball slide, and then a tope through the ropes. So unfortunately, if this was Nick Bull's promotion, this match would have never become legendary because Samoa Joe would have been disqualified.
Match would have ended. We never would have had this. So you never know. I know.
So
when it happened, I'm like, someone's going to bring it up, and I winced. I'm like, darn it. Gosh.
So what does that say?
But I'll tell you what, it is Joe. So, and Joe's a cool ass dude, which we'll talk about later. We got to meet him earlier on this year. CZ and I did. So he gets a pass.
And to be fair, Nick, this was before everybody and their brother was jumping through the ropes.
Correct.
Look, I was gonna say, sometimes you just gotta let stuff happen. And Nick Bull, being the generous man that he is saying, you get passes here. You get one pass for the match, and this was the only time you did it.
Sure. Yeah.
So they're going around out. Exactly. They're going around outside. Joe does the running kick with him in the chair. Kobashi has a nice little comeback, which leads to one of the greatest sells I've ever seen in the history of time. Samoa Joe is seated in a chair in the corner area outside. We get a brief chant from the crowd. I think that was "We can't see anything" or so. We can't see.
Well, are you talking? Is this the Olay kick?
Yeah, he does the Olay kick.
Yep.
But then Kobashi flips it on him, and Joe is sitting.
Yep.
The crowd's chanting like "We can't see you" or something like that. I'm like, crowd, shut up.
We can't see.
But this is like one of the greatest. Yeah, we can't see shit. That's what they said.
Yeah, we can't see shit is what the chant was.
Yeah. And then Kobashi chops Joe while sitting down, get back against the barricade. He like chops him, it hits him in the stomach, but Joe sells it so hard. He like jumps and like plunges himself over the barricade and goes into the stands. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, here we go. They finally get back into the ring. The crowd sits down. They are not chanting at themselves anymore, which was nice. They're back in. Joe takes a chop so hard, like you can see the sweat pop off his body.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that was stiff. This is my bowl of oatmeal raisins. They have the back and forth moments. Joe hits a muscle buster. We're in kind of the final third of the match now. This match is about as all gas. This match is about as much all gas, no breaks as you can get. And
yes,
unless I just found the versions that weren't there's no commentary on this on any version you watch, correct?
No commentary.
Is it makes it's different. It's different in a good way, not a bad way.
And at the time, I'm like, how can they not have commentary?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, man, made a great decision because you don't need commentary because the crowd, the guys in this match, Joe and I think they're getting their breathers when the crowd is going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're called. We're both kind of feeding off each other. And it's not a rip because at the time, isn't Prazak on commentary?
Yes.
During this time.
Yes.
And dude, he's the voice of Ring of Honor to me. All these DVDs and like Dave Prazak is a familiar voice. Now I know he's doing stuff for GCW among other things. He's still out there doing, but no offense to Dave. I don't think Dave Prazak could have done this anything better. Like this was a great call by them. And when you say like, oh, a match without commentary, you're like, but did it need it, Joe? This was your introduction to this whole saga between these two guys. Did it need commentary?
No, because I probably would have taken away from it.
Right. I totally agree.
oddly enough, I think it would have. I think certain aspects of if there was commentary, I think that would have taken away from the match.
And here's the thing with that. Most independent shows that you go to, you're not hearing the commentary pumped into the studio, into the arena, into the venue. There are a few exceptions to that. Some do prefer having the commentary piped in, but watching this match, at least for me, gave me the feel like I was there live because I'm not hearing the commentary. It's just two guys beating the crap out of each other, and you're building your own commentary in your head.
That is, yeah, and go ahead, Nick.
No, and when you're a part of a crowd like that at a live show or a match or a big moment like that, it's just like it's like a tidal wave of emotion and energy. And that's what this ballroom reminded me of. Like the waves just smacking back and forth between the walls. It was unbelievable. You didn't have the dumbest chant in wrestling history, "Fight Forever." You didn't have that around yet. But like when they're saying this is awesome, like they're totally embracing the whole moment. Like Japanese legend is here for 2 nights, and we're here for it, and like I guarantee you, Joe and Kobashi fed off that, and that match probably went 5 minutes longer because of the crowd carrying those guys. Like if it goes any longer, I don't think. I think maybe it putters out a little bit, but perfect. This was perfect. It did not need to be longer, and they probably gave the fans more. But hey, you ever been to a great concert and the band gives you more because they're feeding off the crowd? That's what this was right here. That's what this was.
So into like I said, we were kind of in the final third of the match here. We had the Joe Muscle Buster. There was a near fall. Joe does the power. Going through this too, it's like it reminded me of just so many different things that Joe does that I just love and adore. Like his like he's so smooth, man, and I've always been a huge fan of his, obviously. I mean, he is my namesake after all. Some say I was named after him. Probably not true, but some say. He does the power bomb into the STF, and then the crowd's chanting, "Please don't tap." I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's a good one."
Yeah.
So he does that. Then he gets him into like an arm bar, and then he does the step over, and then they're just amping it up perfectly to have the crowd build more and more, and then he gives the rope break, and then we get to the kind of the ending sequence, where after they get the submission break, Kobashi hits kind of. Would you call it a half and half? He's got him gut wrenched, and then he's got the Nelson. I would call that a half and half. If my terminology there is wrong, please tell me.
Or is that the abdominal stretch?
Whatever you call, he does have that moment, but then he gets him in that. And whether you call it a half and half or whatever you call it, he drops Samoa Joe on his fucking brain. That's what he does. He does that. And it wasn't the last time he does that. We then get maybe the most iconic moment of the match where they get back up. Joe goes into the corner, and we see where Eddie Kingston got his personality from, because we see machine gun chops.
Yes.
And baby.
Did you guys count them?
I did not, but there was a lot.
I did.
I imagine that you did, Nick.
I did.
If the number is set at like 35 and a half, I'm taking the over.
Oh, hammer that over.
Yeah.
I only counted the sequence in the corner where he just goes crazy. I mean, from start to finish.
Okay. What'd you get?
72, and that's probably plus or minus two or three.
Oh my God.
72, brother. and I probably missed 2 or 3.
And listen, Eddie Kingston is obviously great. You could watching this match, by the way, you can tell where Eddie Kingston gets his moveset from.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is why Eddie Kingston's great. But Eddie Kingston don't put as much oomph into those machine gun chops that the OG of them does. That's for sure. Good googly moogly. Like that shit looked painful. Go ahead, CZ.
Much like there is only one person who should do the GTS. Kobashi is the god of machine gun chops, and anyone who does them after him is, I don't want to say doing a disservice, but they're definitely less than what Kobashi does.
It's all about perspective, my friend. It's all about perspective and arm angle in this.
Right.
So he does that. He then does Joe has like a 2-second comeback. Oh no, after the machine gun chops, he does the Samoa Joe gets part 2 of Brain Trauma University. He gets sent to Brain Trauma University, BTU, as some call it.
BTU. You don't want to be there.
Or maybe even UTB, the University of, or UBT, the University of Brain Trauma. Sleeper suplex on the top of his cranium. We then get a trifecta of spinning back fists, lariat, 1, 2, 3, euphoria all over the world. Yeah, just it was in how do I put this? I don't want to call it like an out of body experience because I've just seen from everything I expected it to be really good. But to see like that happen, like to see the way the match was, and just I understand. Like, okay, let me put it in this perspective: seeing that the way it was done, and thinking of how people sometimes try to like reenact that type of strong style, like I thought the strong style stuff that I see now is like my type of shit, buddy. Let me tell you, this was my type of shit. This was my can of Kool-Aid. This was incredible. Mr. Wizard.
And I just, put yourself, you got to see it well after the fact. Close your eyes, close your mind, put yourself back in the arena and imagine what that would have been like to be in New York in that crowd with that match. I've seen Joe live in an independent environment one time. He took on the artist formerly known as Tyler Black. And that was amazing. But I can't even imagine how electrified that room was watching it with that crowd. Because the crowd helped make that match even better, even more than it was. And the match was fantastic.
That's the thing. It's one of 800 people, and the crowd makes it feel like it's a 25,000 seat venue.
Yes.
Probably a room of anywhere from 600 to 800 at the high end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably I would say 6 is firm. I would say 600 people in that room.
Everything I kept watching kept saying 8. Like that was the amount. Yeah, they kept saying
800. We'll go with 800.
Let's see here. Where am I? Got my little notepad here. Here we go. Categories. As always, most rewatchable segment leads us off. For me, I think the beginning moment of them kind of trying to out puff each other's chest. Oh, but actually, let me rewind before we get to the categories. The ending, was that Jay Lethal?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I was going to a little show and tell here later on, but I have the DVD of this show.
Uh-huh.
And I was just going to read you a few of the other names that were on the show this night.
Let's go.
Okay. Of course, Kenta and Joe. We got Homicide. You know who Homicide is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Homicide versus Jack Evans. James Gibson. You know him as Brian Noble or Jamie Noble.
Jamie Noble, right. Yeah. Wasn't Jamie... I saw this video. So this is after Jamie Noble was like in WWE. And didn't they say he was the Ring of Honor champ around this time? Or
he was a former Ring of Honor champion. I'll look up the lineage here and the title changes here in a second to get the order. But James Gibson against Jimmy Yang.
Oh, how about that?
Roderick Strong versus the late Jimmy Rave. Nigel McGuinness versus Jay Lethal. Christopher Daniels on the card. Matt Sydal. Colt Cabana versus Claudio Castagnoli. So there's a pretty good roster here in Ring of Honor right now. They're clicking pretty good. Even though they're an indie, no TV deal, grassroots fan base, they're doing a pretty good job for themselves right now.
Yep.
At this point.
So I was going to mention at the end.
Most rewatchable part of this match, right? We were talking about that.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. I kind of rewound for a sec.
That's okay.
At the end, the moment, the handshake, the hug, and then like Kobashi's like exit, like they kind of, Joe and Lethal was obviously in there just checking on Joe. He did kind of get dropped on his head twice. Not saying it was a bad thing. I'm just saying he did. I'm all for head. I'm all for head trauma as long as it's controlled head trauma.
Could it have been that his chest cavity might have been caved in? Could it have been
also
that, Joe?
Yeah, that also. A literal, as Jay Lethal would say, a lethal combination.
Oh my gosh!
I'm out here.
And most of those chops from Kobashi to Joe are like hitting up here. And I just can't. Oh, no thanks, man.
All caps pain. That's what
yes.
it is. It's in all caps pain. Lots of pain. So they kind of like just laid out and let Kobashi have his moment in the sun. He got basically a walk off, send off by the crowd going crazy. That was really cool. Anywho, back to the most rewatchable segment. I've got two. The initial moment where they're having like the out trying to outdo each other, and then the machine gun chops part. That's my
yes.
two nominees for this. What about you guys?
I will second the machine gun chops, and I will raise you. I love when Samoa Joe comes off the rope and does his senton in the middle of the ring.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad that he wasn't to the point where he's sticking up his middle fingers while he's doing it because this match didn't need it. Mm-hmm. But that's one of that and his walk off when someone's coming off the ropes, two of my all-time favorite moves that Joe does. So seeing that in this match, that definitely, I could watch that all day.
More on that type of stuff here in a moment from Samoa Joe, for me anyway. Nick?
Of course, the machine gun thing. I love the crowd. Like the first crescendo when he keeps continuing the chops.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. I also love Joe hits the muscle buster on Kobashi. Kobashi kicks out, and Joe's got like this look on his face, like you gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. that part I like. Oh man, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a legend. It is a good moment. What's aged the best? Okay, here we go. Samoa Joe coming out to LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out is 10 stars. I don't care what anybody says. This is one of the coolest entrance. This is the coolest entrance theme, aura, wrestler combinations I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And everything just works.
He had different music when he was champion.
When he was the champ? I did not know this.
The champ is here.
Oh, he came out to Jadakiss? Oh yeah. That's legendary.
Dude, he was Joe was the badass mofo in Ring of Honor, and nobody kicked Joe's ass. Kobashi comes in, kicks his ass. Like, that was like how cool this was. And like, the crowd didn't crap on Joe. They didn't crap. Like, not one time did the crowd hijack this match.
Right.
And that's what I
They're
have next.
reacting, they're chanting, but they didn't hijack this match with anything stupid. And it's just, I just wish crowds of today would watch this and be like, this is how to be a wrestling crowd at a wrestling show. This is how you do it right here.
And this is where I have them, and you honestly could say it aged the best is the crowd. Like to see the way that they the way they interact, the way they do things, the way they handle themselves, the way they kind of add to them. They add to the match, but sometimes you'll have wrestling crowds where they add to the match, but they take over the match in a bad way. This adds to it like in a perfect sense. Like there's other matches, for example. So you guys might just, this might be a match. This will not be the next match we do on Wrestlebacks, but it'll eventually be one we probably do sometime down the line. Is the elite tag the elite tag team match from Revolution 2020?
Yeah,
the Bucks versus Omega and Hangman. And the crowd in that match is doing a lot, but they are adding to the match because they understand all of the lore that's going on in the match. Like when Kenny Omega kicks out at 1, when they do the golden lovers the golden trigger knee, and he kicks out at 1, and the whole crowd loses their mind because they understand all the different little bits of lore. That's an example like this is where, granted, this is different because that's like the crowd adding to it by knowing the storytelling bits. This is the crowd just knowing because they're there for the emotional ride. They're there to see kind of this is like this match on the level of where you put things in wrestling is, I would say it lives in the corner and the category of spectacle. And that's what the crowd is here for. They're along for that ride, and they're not taking over the match in a bad way, which would be obnoxious chance to get themselves over, doing some stuff because, during points in the match that have nothing to do with the match. They are here for the spectacle, and they add for the spectacle.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Stay in your lane, react, go batshit crazy. And, there wasn't, hey, did you see any cell phones out?
No. Well, I mean, it was also 2005. Well, that would be a lot of flip phones.
I know, but that was kind of cool to see. Like, there's no phones. No. I seen some people taking pictures with cameras, which was kind of cool.
I was going to say, the only thing that would have made this honestly better if there was some flash photography involved.
Right, or throwaway cameras.
Yeah, where's the flash bulbs? Someone's about to do a 5-second someone's about to do a 5-second pose up in this joint. Anywho, the last thing I have under what's it? Yeah, there we go.
I was waiting for him. Like, God, Joe, look at the screen.
I know. I was looking at my notes, my details. I'm a detail-oriented man. Hold on, we can rewind. Someone's about to do a 5-second pose up in this joint. Now it's Nick's turn. There we go. We did it. Yeah. What's aged the best? The last thing I have, the Samoa Joe moveset. This is what I was getting to earlier. This dude's aged like the finest wine. I mean, good Lord. His moveset, it's all he does. It's not the same. I mean, he's got like little flares here, but it's still the same stuff as he does now. It's beautiful. Everything makes sense. It's just, he's like the most athletic and the most well-rounded like guy that's his size that I've ever seen in wrestling. Like the only thing that I can think in my mind that comes close to it is Kevin Owens, but even Kevin Owens doesn't have like the quick. Kevin Owens isn't like as quick twitched.
No.
Like Samoa Joe is like if a defensive tackle. Samoa Joe is like if Aaron Donald was a professional wrestler.
Right.
And it's a shame that certain people thought of him just another fat Samoan.
No, dumb people.
I agreed, but
dumb people.
That's how he was perceived.
He may be the most underwhelming looking guy. I mean, he's in great shape. That he's like a video game character when you look at his shape. But no, I've always loved Joe because he's worked a legit style. Like what he does, that's what I was going to rave about this match. Like how much unnecessary crap was in this match, Joe?
Not many.
Not
much, if anything.
Not much.
I would honestly, you could argue that there's none. Like there's like, and this isn't even unnecessary, but there's like a couple moments where they have rest holds. That's it. There's nothing else that's like this. Like this isn't this. As I said earlier, this is the fullest. It is a spectacle to the fullest degree, and it is a Hall of Famer, a Mount Rushmore member of All Gas No Brakes.
Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yes.
Joe, I'll build off of what you said. Samoa Joe's moveset is what aged the best. No. It's not just his moveset. Samoa Joe himself is what's aged the best out of this match.
Oh my God.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yes. Absolutely. And yeah, like obviously this is really cool because recently we were all together to watch his world title match at WrestleDream, and he's in a program right now with Hangman Page, the king of Halloween costumes in wrestling. That's what Hangman Page is right now. Shout out to him. But this is probably the last time he'll ever be in a world championship feud. And it makes you realize, like, damn, a lot of these people that we grew up watching, at least I grew up watching, Samoa Joe, John Cena's final match is going to be in a month and a half.
AJ Styles starts his retirement tour next year.
Exactly. Like we're losing recipes, folks. And it's just like to see Joe in this aspect, which I don't know if I wouldn't call this like Samoa Joe's like world coming out party, because this was on like I would probably say that more as maybe the Unbreakable Triple Threat match, maybe as Samoa Joe's like coming out party to the world on like a more broader scale.
Oh, absolutely, it probably was the TNA one for sure. But
yeah. But this is obviously Joe, like we talked about, Samoa Joe won the best wrestler. He won the wrestler of the year in 2005. This was the match of the year in 2005. Like what he was doing then, and he's still able to put out just quality, high level stuff now, literally 20 years later after the fact, is pretty crazy.
Absolutely. For sure. Like not much has changed in his style. Like maybe not as much high risk, but he's still physically imposing. He still has a submission mat-based offense. Mm-hmm. Still does the muscle buster. I mean, yeah, Joe has probably aged the best. I mean, the match itself has aged very well. Like we're 20 years down the road, and I think, people still enjoy this match. I hope they still enjoy it 20 more years down the road. Because to me, it's low budget, right? There's a good amount of people in there. Production's okay, but that's okay. It doesn't matter because the story and the physicality is going to be an A freaking plus, and none of that other stuff doesn't matter. It'll help, but Ring of Honor for one point, they delivered. Like it wasn't like this was the first greatest match or whatever in the company's history, but I think this match may have been one of the most promoted with them and their low budget promotions that they had at the time, and definitely, I mean, I think it's a Hall of Fame Ring of Honor, like it's a Ring of Honor Mount Rushmore match, like of the 4 matches in Ring of Honor history that should be on there. This is definitely one of them.
Yes. No, I completely agree, and I love the discussion we're having. Before we continue, I just want to pause real quick. Say you are watching or listening to Wrestlebacks, part of the Card Subject to Change family of podcasts on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network. Wrestlebacks, rewatchable must-see matches with myself, the Wizard CZ, Never Wrong Nick Bull, and Joe the Show Winkle. And of course, we are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. Joe?
Man,
we're out here.
Man,
you'd think I was a professional or something, wouldn't you?
We're out here. We're so out here. So this could be a first. And if you guys have, listen, obviously, I send you the categories. You guys have all the free reign to do stuff that you want and add stuff, but I have nothing under what's age of the worst.
I have nothing.
Like, there's nothing about this.
There's, no commentary, so nothing was said during the match. Nothing's overly obscene here.
And this is different from the first, this is kind of, a few of these categories are going to differentiate compared to where the first, when we're doing the first two matches, we're going to add stuff into the categories that come from the story. Like we did a category the last time based on all the crazy shit JBL said. Right. That was out of pocket. Right. There's not as much to that here. So some of the categories are going to be a little different.
And that's why I was a little hesitant to pull the trigger on this match. I didn't know. I didn't know if, with not a lot of background stuff out there, unless you kind of lived it, being able to, I'm glad it was on YouTube for us to all see it. I knew this episode would be a little bit different than the other two. But that's all right. We're over an hour into this, still talking about this match.
Yes. Oh yeah, we're in it.
And we're not done.
Not at all. Next up, greatest what if sliding doors moment. I've got one. All right. So there's a rumor. Shout out to Gabe Sapolsky. That Samoa Joe was not supposed to be the man that wrestled Kenta Kobashi in this match. And I'm just going to ask the general populace of this group here that my what if sliding doors moment is, what if this one-on-one match was with the original person that they had pegged for this, and it was with Loki instead of Samoa Joe?
We wouldn't have been talking about the match.
Yep. Not at all.
And this is nothing against Loki. I just feel like, there's levels, right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Is that a fair way to put it?
I'd say so. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think that's the fair and the most PC way to put it.
Look at that. We're out here. Listen, we're all just.
No, they went with the right one. They could not have had a better choice in that situation. You could have thrown Low-Key out there, and I don't think the crowd would have been as nearly involved as it would have been as it were for Joe and Kobashi.
Right. Exactly. Chiefs and tribes and what have you.
Right.
Do y'all have any what if sliding doors moments?
I do, and you guys can shoot me if you want. This is the only time that these two have met one-on-one. What if there was a second match? What if this were a trilogy of matches? Would it be just as memorable and just as good if we had more matches between these two?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's hard because is there a title at stake? If there's not a title at stake, I think it's extra hard because he's coming back for a second. Well, there's going to be a third. So you paint yourself into some dangerous situation there, potentially. But I think the allure of this, it was a one-off. They wrestled against each other in a tag match the next night. But I think the allure was this was just a one-time deal. And that's why I think this is so special. It hasn't, in wrestling, things are done how many times over and over and over again. This was it. And if they would have had a trilogy, I'm down for it. I don't know how they follow these two matches. Then you kind of get into, if you're fighting without a title, then you kind of get into stipulation land. And that's another thing I loved about this. This was just a plain regular match. Like there was no stipulation with it. As much as I would like to have seen a trilogy, I don't think it would have resounded as well as this match did.
And I'm just going to throw a term out there that I think applies to this match: lightning in a bottle.
It is perfect spot, perfect moment, perfect everything. Like the one time kind of helps. I guess the only other time maybe I would want to see this match is if they ran it back in Japan. See what it's like over there, you know? See how different it is. See how the atmosphere. Other than that, though, I think because it makes it more, it almost makes it like more special, right? The fact that it only happened once.
Yes.
You know, you don't get that often. Anyone got any hot retroactive takes to spew? I've got
I kind of said it earlier. Like, I hate the term dream match, but we can use dream match here. This was a dream match.
I have a lukewarm take. It's not hot nor retroactive, but it's lukewarm. Matches like this, unfortunately, like give off the wrong impression to allow people who are not nearly as good think that they can pull this type of stuff off. Like, I'm all for, as I stated, like my type of, I love jam, and my type of jam is the jam that's flavored in this type of stuff, which is stiff, hard shots, all that good stuff. But there's sometimes that it just doesn't work, and that is not my jam. That jam stinks, and it's rotten, and it was left out on the counter for like 2 or 3 days, and like there might be something growing inside of it. I'm not landing this and playing on the analogy landing strip at all, but I'm trying to. Okay, Nick, don't laugh at me.
I'm not, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm waiting.
But that's where I'm at. Like, there's just because certain people can do this type of stuff doesn't mean everyone is allotted the runway of let's just try to forearm strike and chop each other for 20 minutes and think we can recreate magic. No, you can't. Now, I'm not saying all of those matches are trying to dip into their toes into this selective pool. I'm just saying some people need to stay in their lane. That's all.
Fair enough. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I get what you're
I'm with you.
I don't really have anything for unintentional comedy.
Okay. There's one that got me.
I will say the only I guess maybe Samoa Joe doing the like self back body drop into the stands off the sell of the chop, that got me a little bit.
Yeah, that got me a little bit, but there was a moment early in the match. Joe is backed against the ropes, not in the corner. Mm-hmm. And Kobashi hits this massive chop, and you just hear someone in the crowd go, "Oh God!"
That's like the wrestling version of in SpongeBob where they go, "My leg!" Oh, my leg! Oh man. Picking nits, didn't really have anything. Again, nothing to pick a nit on. This is about as clean as. I don't know if there's any. I don't know if we will ever have another night like another show that we do of this where the lines are so neatly colored in. And I know. Sometimes you get perfect Picassos, but that's fine. This is one of those special occasions. This is a good one. I threw this one in there. I feel like we're gonna have some good stuff. Maybe my favorite category out of all of these for this show. What was the most mid-2000s indie wrestling thing about this?
Ole, 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 ole.
There we go. That's a good one.
Ole.
Yeah. There we go. That was
grainy handheld cameras.
Yes! Oh my God! I said the aspect ratio, brother. It's like the spotlight, dog. When like the light is a certain thing, like Samoa Joe looks like a ghost. I'm like, this is so 2005.
Oh man, it was too. It was. It like sometimes those DVDs were shit. They were, but they got better as time went on.
Yeah.
And when I put it up, like I got it on I watched it on a newer TV, and I'm like, God, the picture sucks on this. Oh, wait, 2005. Handheld camera.
I think it adds a quarter of a star, though, honestly.
Oh, like, for sure.
Like, it adds to the match. It doesn't take away from it.
Right.
Well, you know it's purest form, you know?
Most 2000s indie wrestling thing about this match, metal guardrails.
Yes.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. I had the camera, like, oh God, that popped. I love that. We're gonna do like maybe like the 10th episode of this is just gonna be us reacting to all of the shows that we've done. And my favorite moments are gonna be CZ asking the question of we needed the like basically CZ saying we need the Zapruder footage of Solo stealing the weight belt from -1. And then me and Nick popping out about the aspect ratio on the camera. The other thing you mentioned, the guardrails, like the bigger picture, just the venue in general.
Fair.
I like what Nick said about like the sound in the building is like waves, because it's they're in a box, they're like literally in a tin can, and it's immaculate stuff. It's immaculate. Anything else you guys have under this category?
Not really. I mean, there weren't too many signs, to date us back to that time. I mean, outside of the aspect ratio, it's a few years back, but you really can't pinpoint the year.
No, but it was the grainy footage, but it was so good. Like I said, it adds a quarter of a star, maybe a half a star,
maybe a full star in Japan. Or maybe it could be a full star because there was a wrestler from Japan in the match.
There you go. Right. There it is, right there.
First trip to the States. So
this is like the American version of the Tokyo Dome.
Yes,
is a building that seats less than 1,000 people.
And I forgot the name of the place. It doesn't say on the DVD. By the way,
from what I have, it's the Grand Ballroom in New York.
See this DVD? I'm trying to keep the glaze. This is what I had Samoa Joe sign when I met him a little bit ago. CZ was there. Cool dude too, man. Totally cool dude, which makes it all this even better, knowing that we're reviewing a match of a guy that's just a complete badass and a cool ass dude.
Right. Agreed.
Where was it you guys met him at?
We met him at a Comic-Con down in Bloomington?
Bloomington. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And this was right before he was thrust into the world title picture with Hangman. So
they had one or two other wrestlers there, but this was really more of a comic-esque. He was there, I think, more promoting Twisted Metal than anything else.
Next up, I've got Twisted Metal. Shout out to that. Shout out to that plug. I remember playing that game on a PSP.
Yep.
In 2006, right around the time this match happened. Apex Mountain. Is this the Samoa Joe year Apex Mountain? It's on the short, like if there's a Mount Rushmore of Samoa Joe years, this is definitely on it.
This is it. This is it with this match, with him being the wrestler of the year, this match being 5 stars. And then you had the TNA triple threat match. And what was the other match?
The triple threat match in TNA is literally like the greatest match in TNA history.
There was one more match that he was a part of.
He has the match with AJ where he wins the title. He then is Kurt Angle's first opponent.
But this is all no. What was 3 matches that happened in this 05 thing? We have the Joe Kobashi, we have the X Division triple threat. There was one more, I thought.
In he wrestles AJ and wins the title, but I don't remember if that's in 05 or not. Because he beats he wrestles Nigel at the beginning of this year, and for the pure title, he loses the pure title to Nigel. He loses, or he beats AJ, and I think in this year, maybe in the early 06 for the X Division title. He wrestles Kurt Angle in 06. He's Kurt Angle's first match in TNA. There's like other good TNA years for Joe, but like when you just think as a jam-packed, like it's hard to top.
I would think this one's got for him.
I would say so, yeah.
If not the best.
Apex Mountain. Japanese wrestling crossovers in America. Like I know that, again, when you look at it, this is a one-time thing. which granted it was huge because this is one of the biggest stars in Japan wrestling. But like, and it's in a smaller-esque venue and an independent scene, but like, is there a bigger, like, maybe I'm just in the moment so much that I'm oblivious to it right now, but like, is there a bigger, like, Japanese star coming over to America that had this much kind of fanfare behind it?
Man, I don't.
The only thing that I can think of is like right now, like Okada being a mainstay on, like, anytime Okada would show up on like AEW, anytime the coin drop, anytime you heard
it's
the
a big
coin
deal when
drop.
Okada shows up on there. I'll tell you what, like, I remember, like, I didn't see any of his New Japan stuff, but when Shinsuke Nakamura came to WWE, there was kind of an aura around him. NXT, of course, but then of course on the main card. I'm talking like even on NXT, there was kind of an aura around him. So
yeah,
maybe that's the last time that I can really think of it. If you want to say Okada in AEW, that's fine. I get it. Other than that, recently, I mean, because you have so many, now these wrestling companies all work with each other, right? So you got multiple companies having Japanese wrestlers come in. So, I mean, I think it's kind of harder to characterize that or generalize it, excuse me.
No, that's fair. CZ?
Obviously, Apex Mountain, this is the best match of 05, and it was presented that way from the Observer, but let's compare some of the other matches of 05. Just pulled up a list here. Obviously, the Unbreakable three-way. You've got Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21.
Wow.
So good.
John Cena and JBL's I Quit match at Judgment Day.
Very spicy.
Then, I don't know if I would put these up in the best category, but 2005 also gave us Batista and Triple H at Vengeance, and the
that was Hell in a Cell. That was a good match.
That
was a good match.
Then the hands down 5-star classic.
I know what he's about to
Shawn
say.
Michaels and Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam.
Yes! A match that will absolutely 1000% be on the show in the next 5 months. It's probably not the next match I'm going to pick because it's down to like 2 for me, but it might be the match after that I pick. I don't give a shit.
You're on the clock here. You're on the clock here because as the minutes tick away and we wind down, you're going to have to. Or are we going to wait to announce it?
We'll wait to announce it again. We'll wait.
Okay.
To announce it again.
Good call. Good call.
We don't want to give everything away.
No,
people want it. Just wait till we do one of these in person. Good God, people are really going to want it. We're going to bask in our glory or whatever. Shout out to Keith Lee.
Apex Mountain. This match is the measuring stick.
Okay. You know what? That's so, like, it's when you tick off the spectacle box, it really does, like, this is kind of like what you want to aspire to be, because this is different than anything. This is different than some feud for a championship. This is different than some, even like a elongated rivalry. You want to know? All right. I just thought of in my brain, and oddly enough, this is only like a year or so after this. This is October 05. The match that I'm about to bring up is like 5 months after this. Do you want to know like what the most random mainstream version of this is? That is just, it's for a title, but it's still like not a big story, spectacle because of the 2 dudes involved. Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker, No Way Out in 06 for the world title. Like, amazing match where, yes, it's built. There's a build around it because they're wrestling for the world title, but it's not a long build. Like, Angle's the champ, and then The Undertaker just like came back at the Royal Rumble the month before and said, "You're next, bro." And they're like, "Okay." And there's like, it's just kind of the match,
right?
Yeah.
So like that, I just kind of pulled that, but this is a short list of those types of matches. So I get what you're saying there.
Sure.
Did my comparison land?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
I think
definitely.
so. It's been a while since I've seen that match. I'll have to go back and watch that.
A legitimate all-timer. Oh. It's short. That is an all-timer. Any unanswerable questions?
Did the fan that Samoa Joe land on get injured?
Do they get some
They
compensation?
probably didn't bathe for a week, claiming that they had Samoa Joe sweat on them. I think.
And by what there had for Samoa Joe to be sweating that much to where you saw like literally just fluid, like bodily fluids fly off him when he got chopped. That building must have been incredibly musty.
Well, yeah, it's a wrestling show, and about 66% of the population don't bathe, have good hygiene, or use deodorant or cologne. So
there's a reason. There's a
it
reason.
Was musty in Midtown.
There's a reason that Steve Austin cut that promo he did about using soap and deodorant, etc.
It's musty in Manhattan.
Musty.
Hey, is that night one? Hey, Musty in Manhattan. That's a 2-night show. There's got to be a night 1 and a night 2 for Musty in Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it, honestly.
Yeah.
Why not, right? I mean,
Right.
Why not? Lastly, who won the match?
3. I have 3 for this.
Okay.
Indie wrestling fans, Ring of Honor, everyone.
Look at that.
This is another moment where everyone wins. But particularly, this was a huge win for ROH. And for any fan in the building, this is a huge win for them. And for those who still watch it to this day, any fan of indie wrestling, this is the biggest win ever.
Makes my heart smile. That you guys get the premise of the show when y'all answer the questions of the categories like you guys do. Means you get it. But yes, you're right. Like, that is a great point. Because I was just thinking from a spell, like, Pro Wrestling Noah to a degree wins because it's like their big star on the big stage, like the big stage for independent wrestling in America. But just in general, like Kobashi wins from having his moment in America on American soil. But you nailed it too. Like, ROH gets this huge bump because like it's another thing that they have on a long list of things that they have that they are known for that stand the test of time. And then Kobashi himself, like, or everyone in general, like the fans that were there, like, could you imagine? Like, holy Christmas. You're telling your great grandchildren, like, remember where I was at back in my day. And then everyone in general, all wrestling fans, especially like if you were in the know then at the time, like, I couldn't imagine. Like, I can imagine anything now that would compare to that feeling.
I got Joe as the winner here, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he's remembered for, man. Like,
hold on, time out. You're telling me he's not remembered for this? Wendy!
I knew that's where you were going.
How dare you, Nicholas?
I mean, that's why
let me correct that. That's how I'll remember him.
Shout out to Wendy.
Wendy.
CZ gets me.
Oh.
It's like my thing. I have to do it like once a show now. I have to Blair Witch myself with this
Oh,
camera.
Just randomly, Wendy.
Yeah, Wendy. Yeah, shout out to Wendy. But no, I agree. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail us. I'm out here no selling Nick's points to get myself over.
Oh, it's okay, man.
It's a me problem.
But
you're right though. Like, you are right. Like, he's had other moments on the mainstream level to a degree that were as big as, like, you know, like winning a world championship. I mean, he won the AEW title, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Like, winning a world title in 2023, you know, being a world champion not too long ago at that stage of his career is high up there. his run in TNA. The WWE stuff, I don't think anything he did there like compares. Like he was great in NXT, but nothing he did there really compares. I think AEW's done a fantastic job since they've had Samoa Joe of making everything he's done seem important in one way, shape, or form. And yeah, man, but you're right. Like on a full grand scale, like what's the highest achievement for him? I think this is on the shortest list, or this tops the list.
Sure.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Well, look at us. We did it. And I thought we would struggle on this because I felt out of it, but you guys helped me, and I had more juice in the tank than I expected I would have.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, not at all. It was needed.
No.
You just when the lights come on, when the lights shine bright. It's my JBL impersonation. But yeah, man, no, this was a blast. We are going to I can't wait to do this again.
Yeah. Joe, as long as you don't pick a match from December to Dismember, if you do, we will disown you and never do this show again.
The next match we're gonna do is the match the Zombie was in on the first ECW show on Sci-Fi.
And you're fired.
There we go.
We're just gonna retrospect WWE ECW.
Oh my! But no, just to give another glimpse behind the card subject to change circle, Nick and I continue on the ROH bandwagon here. We are talking about our Mount Rushmores of Ring of Honor Wrestling with our good friend Ryan Cerny. Excited for that this coming Sunday at 6:30 as we record this.
That's Nigel, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What on earth is he wearing?
Oh, dude, he used to have spiked bleach blonde hair like that in Ring of Honor.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's his actual hair.
Yeah.
Shows how much I remember.
And he always wore the title belt backwards. Shout out to Nigel McGuinness.
Yes, he did.
Legend.
Well,
But no, man, it's always a blast to do these, and I'm so glad that this concept has taken off. And yeah, man, everyone just has blown me away for like what we've been able to do and the conversations and just the fun it's been. So I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. Nick, any final thoughts?
No, I'm glad that we did this match, obviously, because I picked it. I knew we all would enjoy it, but I also knew it was quite different from what we've done in the past. And I knew we'd be fine. We hit the ground running, and just like the Freebirds did, we banged it up, we burned it down. We're heading out to another town. So onward and upward. This match is over. I can't wait to see which one's next. How soon will we have that announcement?
I would assume. Well, I'm going to tell you what I have in my mind at the moment we're not on the air. But
I got you.
I'm assuming CZ will drip the announcement out here in the next few weeks.
Yep. As soon as I figure out what we're doing and what get a graphic made, probably a week or two from now, we'll pull the trigger on that.
Let's go, baby. We're out here.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, want to thank everybody for tuning in to Wrestlebacks. Must see rewatchable matches right here on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network. We are part of the Card Subject to Change family, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. For the Trios champions of the For Frequency's Sake network, Joe the Show Winkle, Never Wrong Nick Bull, I am the Wizard CZ. Go enjoy your wrestling month. We'll see you back here for Wrestlebacks in December.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.